As summer descends on the Alaskan wilderness, icy rivers flow toward the sea. Marking a sacred moment for American fishermen, the Bristol Bay sockeye migration has begun. Millions of red, muscular salmon bravely swim upstream to return to the place where they were born. And it is at this moment that the trawlers silently plunge into the ocean, beginning a legendary hunt between man and nature, where the fisherman's skill, experience and perseverance are tested by each icy wave and each heavy catch. Bristol Bay, one of the world's richest wild salmon ecosystems, is not only a paradise for marine life but also the heart of the American salmon industry. This is where tens of millions of sockeye salmon are produced each year, providing livelihoods for thousands of local fishermen, contributing hundreds of millions of dollars to the Alaskan economy, and maintaining a tradition of sustainable fishing for generations. On the calm blue-gray waters of Bristol Bay, where the sky meets the sea in the pale pink light of dawn, small but brave fishing boats begin their journey to pull in their trawls. The nets are hundreds of meters long, fragile but sturdy, gently drifting with the current, quietly waiting for the salmon to come in. There is no loud engine noise, no hustle and bustle like in industrial waters, just the sound of wind, waves, and the sounds of nature mixed with the heartbeat of the fisherman, anxiously waiting for the net to close. Bringing back a bright red treasure from the ocean floor. Trawl fishing is not an easy job, nor is it as modern as the high-powered boats and automated equipment. It requires patience, the ability to read currents, an understanding of salmon behavior, and above all, a passion for the ocean. Alaskan fishermen are born to be on the water. They know every wind, every wave, and can predict the direction of the salmon just by looking at the water. Every trip out to sea is a gamble with nature. Some days, in just a few hours, a boat can haul up tons of salmon, their scales glistening in the sun, splashing white as they lift from the surface. But other days, dozens of hours pass just to haul up a few dozen, and the fishermen have to fight the cold wind, hail, and rough waves just to keep themselves and their boats from sinking. Sockeye salmon are unlike any other fish. They are born in the icy streams of Alaska's interior, grow in the vast ocean, and then return home with a miraculous homing instinct that science has yet to fully explain. When they return, their bodies turn a brilliant red, a spectacular sight and a signal to fishermen that the season has arrived. With gillnets, the nets are suspended in the water, cleverly positioned to block the fish's path, but not kill them outright. The fish are caught because their heads are larger than their bodies, and they get stuck as they try to swim through. This method of fishing allows fishermen to be selective, and release those that don't make the cut, helping to protect the fishery for the future. Fishermen on Bristol Bay don't just catch fish, they are also stewards of the ecosystem. Each fishing season, they work closely with marine biologists, reporting catches, strictly enforcing catch quotas and catch areas. They understand that if overfished, if nature is not protected, the glorious salmon seasons could be lost forever. On the decks of wooden boats, amid the rumbling engines and the salty smell of the ocean, fishermen work quietly. They pull in nets, sort the fish, and put them into the onboard refrigeration system to preserve their freshness. There are days when the hold is full of fish in just one morning, and the entire fleet rushes back to shore, smiling brightly because of a bumper crop. But there are also days when the waves rise, the nets are swept away, and the fish are nowhere to be seen. They are still resilient. Still clinging to the sea like a part of their flesh and blood. Each salmon caught is not just a commercial product, it is the crystallization of sweat, perseverance, and love for the ocean of people who have weathered the storms. When the fish are brought ashore, each refrigerated truck follows the other to transport them to processing plants, and from there, Alaskan salmon crosses the ocean, appearing on dining tables from New York to Tokyo. From luxury restaurants to households that love seafood cuisine. In the twilight, the strong arms work tirelessly. The young fishermen laugh as the last salmon is brought aboard. Blood staining the hold. Salt water splashing across the wooden deck. No one complains. They know that each successful trip is a worthy reward for months of preparation. Before the fishing season begins, there is a lot of preparation, checking nets, repairing engines, building boats, storing fuel, food, and 100 other small details, all to prepare for the weeks at sea. Trout fishing in Bristol Bay is like no other in the world. It is not a job for the faint-hearted or impatient. The icy cold, shifting currents, dense fog, and harsh weather put the fishermen in a dangerous position. A little carelessness can cause a boat to run aground, capsize, or a net to be swept away. But it is in the challenges that Alaskan fishermen find their passion. They see each trip as an adventure, a battle between man and nature, where there is no room for complacency. Sometimes, in the middle of the cold night, when all the lights on the boat are off, leaving only small flickering lights, the fishermen still laboriously pull the net, their hands numb with cold, their eyes stinging from the sea breeze. But when the flashlight shines on the net full of bright red salmon, a scene like in a painting, they know that all the effort is worth it. The salmon are like warriors, refusing to give up, struggling violently, making the net shake with each beat. The fishermen have to quickly bring the fish onto the boat, immediately chill them to preserve the quality of the meat, an operation that requires speed, good coordination and skillful technique. The most special thing about the fishing industry in Bristol Bay is the rule of sustainable fishing. Alaska has strict regulations to protect wild salmon. No fishing before the season opens. All boats must have a license, and each area has its own quota. Fishermen strictly adhere to these timelines, even having to anchor for weeks at a time just to wait for the signal from the fisheries department to open their nets. They understand that protecting the stock today is the way to sustain the fishery for future generations. Every year, marine scientists work with local governments to closely monitor salmon migration, using observation stations and radar technology to accurately count the number of fish entering each river. Based on these numbers, they decide when to allow fishing and how long the season is open. Fishermen become part of the conservation system. They not only harvest, but also report, participate in surveys, share field data, and contribute to scientific research. Bristol Bay is a model of sustainable fishing. While many other areas of the world are facing depleted fish stocks, it has maintained a steady annual yield, even increasing. This success does not come from luck, it is the result of a combination of tradition and science, of the experience of fishermen and the knowledge of researchers. Many Alaskan families have been fishing for salmon for 3 or 4 generations. Children grow up on boats, learning how to tie knots, identify fish species, and predict the weather by the color of the sky and the smell of the wind. As adults, they take over their father's boats, continuing their journey across the sea, like an invisible thread connecting the past with the present. For them, fishing is more than just a job, it is a way of life, a source of pride. And part of Alaska's cultural identity. Some fishermen choose to live entirely on their boats during the fishing season. They turn the boat into a home, with simple beds, a compact kitchen, an old radio and a few family photos taped to the wall. Every morning, they woke before dawn, made coffee with boiled seawater, looked out at the misty water and prepared for a new day of work. It was a simple, austere life, but full of meaning, because each salmon they caught was the result of sweat, intelligence and resilience. Alaskan fishermen are not rich in the material sense. They do not own luxury villas or expensive cars. But they possess something that few people have. A life deeply connected to nature, a spirit steadfast in the face of challenges, and a spiritual legacy that spans generations. They are the gatekeepers of the cold ocean, the nameless warriors in the battle to preserve the sustainability of nature. Alaska salmon, especially Bristol Bay sockeye salmon, is more than just a food. It is a symbol of life, the heartbeat of the ecosystem, an endless source of inspiration for those who love the sea, the wild and the pure. Every slice of red salmon on the dining table is part of a great story, a story of millions of miles of miraculous migration of fish, of thousands of hours of hard work in the open sea. And of people willing to trade modern conveniences for the most original way to live with the ocean. And then, as winter begins to blanket the Alaskan mountains, as the sea freezes and the cold winds blow, the fishermen return to land. They spend their time repairing boats, mending nets, reminiscing about their trips, sharing stories around the fire, and waiting for the next fishing season. No matter how much has changed out there, from technology to markets, from weather to politics, one thing remains the same. Every summer, when the salmon return, they will return to Bristol Bay, ready to cast their nets, and begin the journey connecting people to nature, connecting the sea to life, because, at the end of the wild America, there is a stream that never stops, a stream of faith, of love for the sea, and of dreams as red as the salmon swimming in the eternal sunset.